Ding dong merrily on high, you know it is old Crumbo. You weren't near Christmas, but it is. But there you go. Anyway, hello again. Here I am, sporting my ACDC shirt with Malcolm Young and his Scotland tap on, made by my good self. Yes, oh yes. Oh yes, the Crumbo banner. Anyway, I thought I'd share this wee story with you. Once again, another nugget from a nugget, right? Right? And it all kind of revolves around, when you're a kid. And when you're a kid, whether you're male or female, you're a boy or a girl, you've got heroes, right? On a telly, right? And you watch the telly quite a lot. And you see different programmes and that. Me personally, I was a Starsky and Hutch daft guy. I was a Professionals daft guy. I was a Sweeney daft guy, right? I loved them, right? And anybody that knows me knows that, right? But, I also liked the Incredible Hulk. But I never really burst out my corduroys that much, and I could never turn green at a drop of a hat. Well, not a drop of a hat, but when I got angry, right? Because I was never that angry when I was a nipper. Plus, I was never ever injected with gamma radiation that I know, right? Anyway, but there was one guy that 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 really blew my doors off, and that was a guy called Steve Austin. And a TV show was called The $6 Million Man, right? And when I was about 7 or 8 years old, I was convinced, 110% that I was Steve Austin. Now, Steve Austin was an astronaut, right? And he was in a really bad, spacecraft crash thing, right? And he was in a bit of a 2 and 8, he was in a bit of a state, right? They found him and he was all benty, buggery, right? And they managed to get him on an operating table. And there was a guy called Oscar Goldman who ran this kind of weird secret company, right? And what they did was they started making him bionic, right? So they gave him like bionic legs and that, and put wires on his arm, so he had a bionic arm and that, and a bionic eye so he could see fucking miles away and that. So he could run really fast, right, and lift dead heavy things up and that, and see things from miles away. Right, so he was phenomenal. He was just brilliant for me. I was just like, I love this guy. This guy can do anything, right? And and he would fight baddies and that, and he would use his bionic powers and all that. He kind of, for a greater good. And he also kind of tangled with Sasquatch, like a Bigfoot, right? And, when them two got together, right, the two would be flinging each other about, and arms would be flying off and all that kind of carry on, right? And I was like, oh, Jesus, this is magnificent, right, to myself. Because I thought, Steve Austin, man, he runs dead quick, can lift dead heavy things, can see miles away, and he could throw big hairy guys about, right? So I thought, that's it for me. So I turned into Steve Austin, right, when I was away. So I would run dead fast, right? And I would tell people, I can see, look, I can see it from miles away and that, and everybody would be like, fucking shut up, you half-wit, you know? And I would try and lift up boulders and that, big boulders, like, and I'd be blown out my arse, right? I'd be like, this fucking Steve Austin do this. But I would always make an excuse, to my pals and that, like that. My bionic arm's not working in it. I need to get back to Oscar Goldman to get a refit or whatever. I don't think I said refit, but you know what I mean. Rewired or something, right? So my bionic arm would work. And Steve Austin used to do things in slow motion, right? Obviously because he was that quick, right? And there would be a kind of bionic noise is the only best way I can explain it. And see if he was like throwing people about, it would be like, right, and it'd be like this weaky do noise. And I used to run about the street and that, and yeah, I'm going to start fucking lifting things and that, no. Thinking I'm Steve Austin and running about and blowing out my arse and pretending I could see like registration plates on cars and that from miles away. But, you know, fantasy. But, you know, it was good. It was good for me. Anyway, you know, so I'm jumping about Athol Terrace and Braeside as Steve Austin. And one day, my mum, wee Gracie, her best pal was a wee woman called Myra Logan, who myself and my two sisters adopted as our auntie. She is, or was a phenomenal, phenomenal woman. She's no longer with us anymore. But she was such a beautiful, beautiful lady. She really was. And she looked after us, right? And she was just brilliant. So my mum used to go down to Myra's and they would have, like, I don't know, a wee martini or a cup of tea or whatever, right? And have a wee chinwag together, right? And I always used to go down with my mum, right? Because I was always kind of pretty tight with her youngest boy, right? She had 4 boys. And I was tight with her youngest boy, Fraser, who I used to call Fraj, right? But later on, his nickname was Twain, and sadly Twain's no longer with us anymore either. But Twain was an absolute legend, an absolutely brilliant guy. And he was known by many, 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 many people. And he was just an absolute loony. And he was brilliant, and he was a brilliant loony, right? And he loved Motorhead. And, you know, I loved his music, and that was alright by me. So Fraser and I were quite tight. So I goes down to Myra's house, right? Steve Austin down my banger, no, fucking running about throwing things and that. My ma's just getting put that down, you know. You can't lift that. I'm like, I'm a bionic, right? Just doing or nothing. And so gets to Myra's house and that, and I fires up the stairs. You see Fraser, because Fraser was in his room. And so I bounced up, like, alright, Fratch, how you doing? Blah, 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 blah. And Fraser's older brother, Alistair, was in a room too, Ali, right? And Ali is a phenomenon, right? Ali was in a really, really bad motorbike crash and unfortunately lost his arm and his leg. But he still drives motorbikes and he still drives cars, and he's got a phenomenal sense of humour, and he's such a brilliant, 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 brilliant guy, and I'm still pals with him to this day. Anyway, back in the day, Ali had a wee bit of what we class as a playful streak, right? And I could see him eyeing me up, you know. And I'm like, what is it, Ali? You know, and he's like, nothing. Nothing. Right? So I'm pretending to lift up Fraser's bed and that, like, trying to be a bionic man in it. And Fraser he was probably just getting sick of me as well, right? And he went like that. Mum will go down the stairs and watch the telly, because there was a programme on the telly back in the day, in the 70s, called The Goodies, right? And Fraser and I were huge, huge fans of The Goodies, right? 3 guys, Bill Oddie, Tim Brooke-Taylor and Graham Garden. And there were 3 absolute nutters that were on the telly, total anarchy, right? And we loved them. And they were like the next generations, like the young ones, right? You know, like Neil Happy and Rick and Vivian and Mike, the cool person. So Fraser decides, Mum will go down the stairs and we'll watch The Goodies on the telly. So I'm like, that, right, no bother, brilliant, fantastic, you know, watch The Goodies and that. So I go to the top of the stairs in Myra's house, right? And then the next thing I know, I kind of come to at the bottom of the stairs with a sore head. Oh, and I'm all fucking plasticine boy, right? I'm all kind of bent out of shape, and I'm like, you know, my mum rushed out the living room. She's like, what happened? What happened? And I was like, I don't know, I'm just all bent, I don't know, I've got a sore head and that, and, you know. But out of the corner of my eye, I could see Ali standing at the top of the stairs, laughing at me, right? And I was just like, oh, right? And I always thought to myself, what the fuck's he laughing at me for? You know, that wasn't a very funny thing, but it probably was a very funny thing for him to see, right? So, I'm in a heap, I'm all bust up and I'm all bent out of shape and all that. I was at the top of the stairs, now I'm at the bottom of the stairs, and in between I have no fucking idea what happened, right? So fast forward, many years later, and I'm walking into a pub in Gourock to go for a pint and a wee swift one, and there's Ali. Ali's in having a bevy and he's sitting at the bar. So, me being a genial, I walks over to Ali and I'm like, Ali man, how you doing mate? Gave him a hug, blah blah blah. You want a drink that mate? Blah 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 blah. Right, so, excuse me, Ali and myself started having a bevy and talking about Motorhead and music, and Ali was always interested in what I was getting up to musically as well, you know, with playing drums or playing guitar and that in bands. And we were having a right good swally, right, is the best way I can explain it, right? And that's when I plucked up the courage, because it popped into my head, right? And I thought to myself, I need to get closure on this, right? So, as more double whiskies and more pints of cider and whatever were going down the back of our throats, I turned round to Ali and I went, Ali, can I ask you something? And he's like, aye, me man, aye, me man, no bother man, what is it, what do you want to know, what is it? Right? And I went, mind that time I come down to your house with my ma, and I come into Twain's bedroom, and we went down to watch the goodies, and he's like, aye, I remember that, aye. I was like, do you remember I ended up in the heat down the bottom of your ma's stairs? He's like, I remember that too, aye. I was like, I remember looking, you know, for my slump, right, and all my bendy bits, and I remember looking up and seeing you at the top of the stairs and you were laughing at me. He's like, aye, I remember that, aye. I was like, were you just laughing at me because I fell down the stairs? And he's like, no. And I was like, well, what were you laughing at me for? He's like, well, you know what I mean? It was one of them ones. You were just pissing everybody off because you thought you were Steve Austin, $6 million man and that, and you were like lifting things and that, and tables and that, and you could see Reggie plates from miles away and that, and you could run like grease fucking lightning and that. But you were just doing everybody's nut, and so I just kicked you down the stairs. I was like, he did what? He's like, aye, because, I don't know, I thought you were the $6 million man. I was like, right, well, see if you're the $6 million man, fuck you. Poof! And kicked me down the stairs. He's like, and see if you were the $6 million man, you'd have probably landed on your fucking feet. I was like, is that how I can't remember for the top of the stairs to the bottom of the stairs? I was like, you just came up behind me and just fucking booted me right down the fucking stairs. And he's like, aye, because I just wanted to see if you were a bionic man. Know what I mean? I was like, oh, for fuck's sake, man. Excuse me again. I was like, oh, for fuck's sake. I was like, Ali, I says, that's been haunting me since that happened. I was like, I had no idea what happened. I said, I remember it so clearly, but I remember you eyeing me up in Twain's bedroom going like that. You know? I was like, was that what you were thinking? He's like, oh, aye, I was going to kick you down the stairs. Fuck. So, you know, at that point, you know, obviously we had a good few bevies in us. And for some strange reason, it made complete and utter sense to me and to Alistair. That always made sense to Alistair, actually, you know. But for me, it always made sense because, you know, in our childlike way and our childlike thought process, I was a pain in the arse. He wanted to get me back. But he also thought, you think you're a fucking $6 million man? Have this. could have about fucking 18 stairs or something like that, right down the bottom, man, you know. All twisted to buggery, man, like that, like Ronnie Cox out of Deliverance, when the old hillbillies shoot him and that, and they find him, and he's like, oh, right, not in a very good state at all. Anyway, so I came out, I came out in sympathy with Ronnie Cox, because I knew how that felt. A bloody sore, so it was. Anyway, so I'd finally get closure on how crap I was at being bionic, right? And it did give me that closure I was always searching for all my life, because I was like, how the fuck did I end up in the flare? So it was your ally that wanted to test out my bionicness, right? Which was utter guff, right? But it also takes me on to a wee story I'm going to add on this, right? And obviously I didn't know how I ended up on a flare, right? So my mum, wee Gracie, one day she decides, you know, I need a loaf. I need to get a loaf, right? So she gives me a shout, David! So I'm like, Steve Austin, right? But by this time, I've stopped running about like Grease Lightning, right? I've decided to do it the way he does it on the programme, right? And that is do it in slow motion. Because everything they did was in slow motion because it was like too quick, you know, because he was fucking brilliant, right? So everything I did, you know, lifting up the boulders and that, I would, I'd lift up wee bricks and that, fling them and think I was a $6 million man. Anyway, unbeknownst to me, right, what Steve Austin used to fling about was paper mache, right? I didn't know that, right? But I just thought, oh, you're a brick, I'm fucking Steve Austin, brilliant. Oh dear, what a twatty I was. But anyway, my mum goes like that, I mean, I need you to go to Cooperative to get me a loaf. Now, where we stayed in Athol Terrace, in Braeside, right, there was a wee Cooperative, which was about a 5-minute walk there and back. A 5-minute walk here and a 5-minute walk back, so a 10-minute walk. It was at bottom of Glencairn Road. And the wee building's still there, but it was a wee Cooperative. So she gives me the money, and she goes, right, get down to the Co and get me a loaf. So I was like, right, no bother, ma'am, I'll go down and get you a loaf. Now, unbeknownst to my mum, right, obviously I've kind of slowed things down, right? I've decided, you know, I'm not going to run as fast because people will not be able to see me and they'll not believe me, obviously, because I'm that quick, right? And I'll do it in slow motion, right? So I takes off for a shop, right? I have no idea what passengers on buses must have thought when they seen me, right? Or I have no idea what wee wifeys thought when they opened up their net curtains and seen us wee dude with a handful of change like that, running in slow motion by their window. You're a bloody boy, I think he's bloody Steve Austin, he's off his nut, that boy needs a scud, right? So 10 minutes goes by, my mom used to worry about me, right, because I was a typical wee boy. I used to just, you know, jump on my bike and disappear, or if I'd seen somebody I knew at school, you know, and they'd be like, mon down to my house, and that. I would go down and that, and, you know, I'd be away for fucking hours, right, my mum would be like, David! You know, shouting and bawling, trying to get me home. So 10 minutes goes by, no Steve Austin, right? 20 minutes goes by, no Steve Austin, and more importantly, no loaf. Don't know if my mum was like just short of bread or whether she was wanting a jam piece or something like that. I don't know, with a cup of tea. Anyway, she was wanting a loaf. Half an hour goes by, no Steve Austin. 45 minutes later, Steve Austin, i.e. me, turns up at the door with a loaf under my arm. I'm like, Mum, I've got your loaf. And she went, where the bloody hell have you been? It doesn't take you as long to get down to the cooperative and back up. What have I told you? Don't stray away. What you been doing? Where have you been? Right? And I was just like that. I just went down to the shop, mum. And she was like, but where have you been? It's 45 minutes. What took you so long? I was like, I ran in slow motion with Steve Austin. And she just went, oh, for fuck's sake. She's like, David, stop being Steve Austin. You're doing everybody's nothing. And I'm like, okay. And that's when I realised, I was like to myself, fucking hell. I mean, I bet you Steve Austin doesn't get all this guff, right? You know, I bet you, everybody's pleased to see Steve Austin. But they weren't pleased to see me as Steve Austin. So, it took a lot out of me to kind of, say to myself, I need to stop doing this. Because I was that wee, and I loved him. I thought he was brilliant. I just thought he was tremendous, how somebody could be bionic in it. I thought that was great. I didn't really know that I was absolutely shite at being bionic, right? But, aye. It's brilliant being a dad now and seeing my wee boy. And, he's into totally different things and all that, obviously, because the TV and all that's changed. But I try and kind of show him, like, we see this wee man, this is superb, and that, and he's sitting watching it, scratching his nap, like, very good, dad, but, aye, always remember, if your wains want to have heroes and that, just let them go, because it's tremendous, because it was the happiest I've ever been, was, like, running about like a fucking maniac. No, not very well, right? I couldn't lift boulders, but I could lift wee things. And I could do that bionic, right? But the moral of the story is, I was shite at being bionic. And I've got the proof to tell you why I was shite at being bionic. So, let me just say, thank you for listening. Thank you for watching. Thank you for allowing me your time for some of my nonsense, right? Because, I don't know, you just got to keep smiling, ain't you? You just got to keep going. So anyway, you take it easy and have a good one, alright? And from Steve Austin here, have a good one.